Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the School of Orisha Studies. Today is Thursday. The date is April 11th. The year is 2024. And we are here for our dream incubation session. We are blessed and fortunate to be guided by and protected by Oya and Shango on this day. So we give thanks and praise for their acceptance this morning, for the directives and the guidance that Shango and Oya offered to us during our morning devotion. And we pray that the grace and the force and the wisdom that Oya and Shango extended to us have manifested in our lives and enabled us to make sound decisions and be more vigorous in our participation in this moment that we call life. We know life, we envision it as such a long process based on our memories and our hopes about what will happen next. But moment by moment by moment by moment is really what life is all about. As Chief Yagbe would tell me, is that it happens one breath at a time. And there's plenty of people who took their last breath right now. For you, it was just one breath out of millions. But for lots of people, when you took your last inhale, that was their last breath. And that's a a very stoic perspective, that Chief Yagbe would, he would share often. He was very stoic in his perspective. And, that's real. So we live right now and we're present right now, and we give thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this moment. And so I'm thankful that we're all here together on this Thursday evening, the day of Ojobo, the day of manifestation. This is the day after, right? If you follow the 7-day calendar, this is the day after. This is the when the divinities realized that they had missed a beat. They hadn't done their rituals the day before and things went off the rails. The next day they got their act together and rededicated themselves to the discipline. And as a result, they got manifestation, right? And so today is the day of manifestation. It's the day that we reflect upon and we realize that the price of success is paid every single day. Just like we live one breath at a time, we succeed one day at a time. The thing that you did yesterday that made you successful, you're gonna have to do it or something different today, right? Whatever you paid yesterday is what you paid yesterday. You give thanks, but you got to be ready to pay whatever today demands. And if you're not willing to pay what today demands, then you won't succeed. And that's just the way it is. And so we give thanks for the day of Ojobo, because it reminds us that, yesterday I might not have been on my A game. I was bringing my B game, and it wasn't enough, right? We've all also had that experience where you brought what you brought, but it wasn't enough to win the day. And that's just a reminder that what was the price of success yesterday, it's not the price today. So bring it, whatever it may be. And so with that being said, let's bring it. Let's dive into our focus for this evening, which is dream incubation. This is perhaps the greatest opportunity that we have for establishing and sustaining our connection to the divine and the infinite. So I love this particular class, and I hope and pray that what we do today will get you a little bit more access to this superpower of yours and enable you to discipline your dream life in ways that will be beneficial to you and those who you are destined to serve. Ashe. So that being said, let's get some permission to enter into the sanctum of the divine ones, the elders, which will require our Ijuba. And we got our good sister, Christelle, coming in with the Ijuba, bumping for her Jika. Good
That's
evening.
right. Aboro, but yeah, but she say Baba again.
Corto, how are you?
I'm doing. It's getting better,
Little by little,
little by little, day by day.
bit by bit. All we got to do is keep on stepping.
Keeping on.
That's it.
All right.
Where are you right now? I see. Is that hair?
At work,
Oh, beautiful.
I gotta shampoo my hair, so I stayed late. So
I love it.
great clips.
Okay.
All right. Iba ola demare oba terere kaye.
I said,
Iba ti yojo.
so
Iba ti water room.
I
Iba ileo gereo foko yeri.
said,
Iba ikba rumileo joko tum.
shit,
Iba ikba rumile joko si.
shit,
Iba okalini irinwo o rumile.
shit,
Iba rumila eleri ping. Iba koda. Iba sheda. Iba gerila do. Iba rabala tuife.
shit,
Iba iroki. Iba iroki la deo wo.
Benny,
Iba pepe la dea sin.
Bashir,
Iba ganga wo de ibada. Iba sopi water wo de rimo.
Bashir,
Iba arula awo ode ijebu. Iba takumuse awo ode ijesa.
Bashir,
Iba roki awo shokbo.
shit,
Iba kerke awo yo. Iba shekba awo ekba.
shit,
Iba shek shekba awo ekba. Iba gadebe awo dahomey. Iba poko awo pata pata. Ifa bawase. Ki ola demai ko bawase. Ibai gungun ilewa, ibari baba,
Bashir,
ibari yeye,
Bashir,
ibari olowo,
Bashir,
obaf, no, ibari olowo, o oloye, obafami origunwa,
Wanyo,
iba ori ojibana, ibari inu, ibari ode.
shit,
Ashe. I give thanks to Olodumare for the opportunity to remind myself, to allow myself to operate in grace instead of vengeance. I give thanks today to my Ori for loyalty and providence. I give thanks today to our ancestors for the sacrifices they made so that we can live with an abundance of joy,
shit,
wisdom, prosperity,
shit,
tranquility,
shit,
resilience,
shit,
compassion,
shit,
forgiveness, and healing.
shit,
I am grateful for the spirit of discernment and endurance in my life. I give thanks for the victory over enemies, especially if the enemy is inside me.
shit,
I give thanks that peace and harmony overflows in our lives. I give thanks for the protection of our children. I
shit,
give thanks that they make honorable decisions and that that aren't the ones that aren't honorable, they become wise from them.
shit, shit, shit,
I give thanks for our spouses, our compatible spouses. May
shit,
we continue to communicate with respect and patience and love, even when it's challenging.
shit,
I bring this offering of prayer to ask Olodumare to empower my voice today and allow our prayers to manifest in our time. Olodumare, as long as you do not allow my time to end, I promise to always realign with you when I veer off the path of my destiny. And
shit,
I also promise to do my part in helping bring about the good condition. Ashe.
I said, wow. We give thanks and praise for the moment of blessing, the moment of realization, even the moment of contemplation and imagination. There's so many powerful faculties that we as human beings possess, and maybe we take them for granted that we have these capacities, but that doesn't diminish their potential to guide our lives and to create real wonderful outcomes for us. And so we give thanks for their presence. And when the time is ripe, we know that all these resources will reveal their value to us. And some of the things that we took for granted yesterday will become infinitely important today. And we know this to be true because we've lived and we mature and we have our experience that lets us know, wow, I didn't realize what was sustaining me or what was making opportunities for me. One of those, I mean, that overall, that sentiment and concept of providence and the unseen hand that guides us and supports us is, for me, epitomized by the dreams. And so the dream analysis and dream interpretation represents for me this wonderful opportunity for us to experience the great mysteries and the great, esoteric energies and phenomena of our reality. When you have a dream that puts you in contact with something that's far beyond your ability to think and imagine and conjure and scheme and program, it affirms something magical and lets us know, there's so much, there's so much more than meets the eye on one hand, and on the other hand, it is as far reaching as you think. It's as far reaching and impactful as you imagine it to be. So these are the things that I really love about dreams. And so today, we're going to dip into a new Itadogun dream, or the symbol. We have a new symbol for this Itadogun cycle. In the last few weeks, we've been dealing with more of a Jungian, how can I call this? The Jungian, the technique, and a particular aspect of the technique, which is the mandala, and the way that Carl Jung uses the mandala as a framework for contextualizing the symbols that crop up in our dreams. And that's, I wanted to revisit that in the last couple of weeks to give you some perspective on what in the counseling world we would call creating a container, right? We create creating a container or creating a vessel. I know that not everyone will be a professional counselor, but there's some techniques of counseling that will serve you in your role as the custodian of the ancestral promise of your lineage. Okay, so as always, you know what I'm doing. I start these off with giving you perspective, backing up. Before we dive into the subject, I need you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not freestyling. I see you in a certain way. I recognize you in a certain way. I know that you occupy a certain role in your family, in your community. You are the one in 1,000. You are the one in 1,000 of your peer group and of your circle. And you may not have responded to that call with the intention to be a leader of your family, but that is what you are. That is who you are. You are the chosen one in your lineage. If we look at Enya as the chosen ones of our community, of the world, Enya. I know that Enya is a big picture concept for all of us to aspire to, like Omoluabi, ones who are born well. But within your family, the only reason you're here is because you are the Enya. You are the chosen one of your lineage. You are the one that hears the call. You are the one that sees the sounds. You are the one that has the senses. And it's not enough just to recognize that something else is going on and you're connected to something else, but you respond to it. You do something about it, right? And so I know that at some point or at many, many points, you are going to take it upon yourself to represent the ancestral memory, or the people in your family are going to come to you and they're going to ask you questions, or they're going to present certain challenges and opportunities for you. And all of it is for you to play your role as the custodian of the ancestral memory to facilitate and guide your lineage in delivering on the ancestral promise. And so, with that in mind, I'm thinking of you as I'm offering you certain techniques that I know will serve you. Okay? I'm offering you certain techniques that I know will serve you. One of which is you being able to hold space for the the metaphysical, esoteric, spiritual, ancestral experience of your family members, right? So here we've been looking at the Jungian model because Carl Jung articulates what he's doing in a very clear way, in a very scientific way. I like Carl Jung because he's a mystic-minded person. He has a mystic kind of a heart, but his mind is very scientific. And we as Westerners, we feel the African impulse. We have the African instinct. We're connected to the African soul consciousness. But our minds have been conditioned and trained along the lines of the West. And so we see ourselves largely from a Western perspective. And we see explanations. That's why they would say, you gotta have a good white man to tell you obviously things. Well, part of the reason is because that's of our conditioning. But it's not just that the guy is white. Sometimes it's just that the guy is white. But sometimes it's that the white man is going to tell it to us in a way that makes sense to us, in a way that we're used to, gathering information. If you ever have the chance, watch different kinds of movies and TV shows. Watch German shows. Watch Italian shows. Watch Spanish shows. Watch French shows. Watch them so that you can understand the logic, right? We look at white people as just white people sometimes. But the French are not the same as the English, y'all. The Germans are not the same as the Spanish. The Italians are not the same as the Dutch. They're not the same. They don't enjoy exactly the same worldview. And the reason why it matters is because we get to see how those different influences manifest in our experience as Westerners, right? And we get to see the different ways that the Western perspectives, how an Afro-Brazilian versus a Jamaican is going to approach life. How a Puerto Rican versus a Nigerian is approaching the spirit. A lot of it has to do with the European overlays that we've all experienced. And we can't just fight it. We can't just reject it. We can't just deny it. We've got to acknowledge, accept, and embrace the fact that the way we experience and perceive the world has been influenced by the economic, legal, social environment that we have grown up in, and that our parents have grown up in, and our great grandparents have grown up in. This is how we define our reality. So I say all that to say that I like Carl Jung because for us as Americans, we have a high dose of rational Germanic reasoning. That's a big part of our learning process. It's a big part of our, what we would call legitimate intellectualism and analysis. It has to, you know what I mean? It has to have a degree of that in order for us to accept it. If it's not, if it's totally irrational and there ain't no math involved, we're gonna reject it at some point. Even our religious experience. This is why we love Masonry. This is why we love Rosicrucianism. This is why we love Egyptology, right? Because those are things that have a very obvious and tangible, concrete, mathematical, right, measurable component to them. Okay? But what I want you to, well, at least what I take away from Carl Jung's work is that you can be scientific about anything, and your scientific mind will either reveal it to be real or false. You can apply a good dose of that filter of rational mathematical thinking to any aspect of your life, and it will help you create a measurement point, an evaluation point. And we have to do that in order to believe that our dreams have value. We have to. We have to. So that's where we came. That's what we've been doing for, I think, maybe 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks. All these dreams that we've done with the mandala, and looking at the different kinds of dream incubation and stuff like that, right? So today, what I'd like to do is take all of that backdrop, I guess we would call it, and look at our new symbol and transition into what our experience has been with the new symbol and the new Itadogun, and start to chart a new course for how we can use our dreams to create a better reality for ourselves and the people that we're destined to serve. So right now, our symbol is of the pit of misfortune. The pit of misfortune. And we've seen the pit of misfortune multiple times. So let's do a little impromptu test and see, what do we remember about the pit of misfortune? Who can recall 3 things about the pit of misfortune? What are 3 attributes of the pit of misfortune? What are 3 influences of the pit of misfortune? What are 3 lessons that we learned from the pit of misfortune? Help us out here. Share what you know. What is the pit of misfortune all about? What do you know for sure? Not just what comes to mind, but what do you know? What have we learned about the pit of misfortune? Imodoye. Good evening, sir.
Boye, Uncle Baba. I mean, pardon me, Baba Oloye.
Agbato. How you doing?
Yeah. Right. The pit of misfortune, related to the was the 2 concentric circles, is advises us to not um be tempted to fall, to be tempted to be guided by emotion, fall too deep into emotion, or to be too driven by emotion related to the um um I, somehow I gathered and I've assumed too is a question that this is related to the pit that we dig before coming into the world of whatever the challenges we'll face until our blessings may come. And so it's related highly to those challenges and that that sacrificial debt.
Mm-hmm. That being the when we come into the world, each of us digs a pit before we are incarnate. And some people dig, or some souls dig a really deep hole, and some dig a really shallow hole. And that determines how much spiritual work you got to do to, break even and then come up. And so, what you mentioned there about the pit of misfortune, absolutely true, right on time, and accurate. Okay, thank you, Imodoye. Let's keep it rolling. I see, brother Jegbe. What are a couple things that you know about the pit of misfortune?
Borua Boye Baba.
Boy, I told.
I guess the one thing I would add to what uh good brother Modoye said, um, that digging a pit of misfortune. Oh no, you just said it. It's one of the 7 tasks that we do before we incarnate. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think actually Modoye touched on that. Yeah, the idea that there is it's not karma within this system, but there is a weight, you know what I mean, that we each carry and have to kind of alleviate. So when I see this symbol, I think about which actions I'm taking are you know, either eliminating my debt or, that weight or exacerbating it.
Mm-hmm. Am I digging myself deeper into a hole, or am I filling my hole? Yeah. And thank you very much, Joko Tifa. What can you tell us about the pit? Boy, I told.
Yeah, they've done a very good job. One thing I noticed this round, which maybe I didn't notice last, was Ori, like putting spirit first, letting spirit lead, and focusing on Ori.
Yes, yes. The pit of misfortune puts a high priority on Ori. That Ori is first, because we suffer. In this, one of the proverbs here is that as life is difficult for the initiate before initiation, and the mother suffers greatly before giving birth to a magnificent child, so do we suffer the misfortune before we fulfill our destiny. This is a symbol that also signifies for us the inevitability of suffering in the process of becoming whole. All initiation is ordeal, and the journey of life is ordeal. And so you can't be transformed without undergoing an ordeal. And the pit of misfortune represents that ordeal. So yes, thank you very much. Wonderful insights. Joko Tifa Urimi Dara Ekaleo
Buddha boy, Baba.
Boy Toe.
The main thing I always think of when we see this symbol is like the anxiousness, the anxiety, and emotions. Because I think about how you feel like you got a pit in your stomach. Right. So every time I see this, I'm like, what's gonna happen that I need to really manage how I'm feeling, not be anxious about, not have a lot of anxiety around.
Yes.
So that's the main thing, not because everybody else pretty much covered it, but that's what I think about.
Yeah. This symbol is synonymous with really intense emotion. This when we see this symbol, we let if I were casting E5 for you as an individual and we saw this symbol, I'd be telling you your emotions are really, really high. Your emotions are really significant, and you can't ignore them. You can't overlook them. But you can't. You're gonna lose by hyper focusing on the emotions themselves. These emotions are there to, they're like a bridge. They're a filter in order for you to see something else and experience and understand something else. Acknowledge the emotions, but let them show you what they are trying to reveal. That is also really powerful discipline of the pit of misfortune. We have our good brother Imodoye. Thank you so much, Ori Midara. Imodoye.
Uh, yes. I just wanted to share just with looking at the study guide this go around that mentioned values that's associated with deep feelings and values. And I think like in other classes in dream incubations before going over the symbol, we did touch on that, like somehow, like even with these deep emotions and the pit of misfortune that will somehow that it can bring us to focus on what's really important, what really most essential and matters most to us. And I'm interested in seeing that this for the CTOT logo.
Yes. We only feel so intensely because those emotions are attached to something equally important, and sometimes what those emotions reveal are things that are important that we need to let go of. It's like that used to be important, but that's a part of my past. Or hey, this is really important, but I really haven't incorporated it into my life. It's going to be a part of my future. Either way, the pit of misfortune signifies for us really powerful emotions that reveal to us deep core values. Uh, yes, our good sister Diane. Good evening. Ekaleo.
Good evening, Baba. I always have a problem with this volume thing here. So with the pit of misfortune, I just want to tag team off of what everyone else said. I believe it causes us to look at the bigger picture. What's going on with the emotions? What is the emotions trying to tell us? One of the things with the lesson, the study guide, it says based on the emotions that if Ifa says there's difficulty, it precedes blessings. So to be able to look at the emotions, to be able to evaluate and understand, ever since we had this lesson, that's what I've been doing. I've been looking at my emotions in all aspects of my life, asking myself, why am I feeling this way? And I think, I know that a lot of my emotions are based on what's going on inside of me, something that needs to be fixed, something that needs to be corrected. And it's just like you talked about, if you don't fix it, it's a continuum. You'll continue to experience the same thing over and over again. And you'll get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
You just want to be inspired and overjoyed. Like, how do I change tracks from
Yes.
to inspired? And it does begin with us accepting and recognizing, acknowledging, I'm sick and tired, and
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm sick and tired of this and this. You know what I mean? It's like I have to take stock of it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Th- th-
And one person said, I can't remember who it was, we blame other people, we blame circumstances, we play the blame game.
right.
But I believe if I'm having an emotion, it's something that's happening inside of me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been Michelle who was sharing that with us. Like, and I've forgotten there was a book or something that she had referred to, or a study that she had been a part of. But yes, that oh, it was the Four Agreements she was talking
Yeah,
about.
the Four Agreements. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we play that script of somehow this happened to me and I'm a victim, and
Yes.
and then a whole bunch of other people would jump on. As soon as we jump on, we start playing that script, a whole bunch of people jump on, and we just end up perpetuating the same, stagnancy, and there's no progress involved and no evolution involved. But when we sit down and say, "But yeah, what am I really choosing to feel right now? This is happening, but you know, what's my role? How am I playing a part in my experience?" And then we start to tap into our real capacity to change and grow. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have Orikoku Temidare, the Trini Gladiator.
Abora Boye Baba.
Boato, how are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
I had a question. The pit of misfortune, it speaks about digging holes, and you mentioned literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So would that include like planting, like sowing some plants? Should I hold off on that for now? Would that be suggested?
Okay. Yeah. This Odu does caution us about digging holes, digging the ground at all. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can hold off, then I would say yes, hold off until this Itadogun cycle ends. If there's something that you're planting that really should be planted right now, um, then you should take the necessary, steps to appease the earth, and give the earth, water, gin, obi, orogbo, efun,
Mm-hmm.
and secure the blessings of the earth. And if she's not giving the blessings, then like, nope, this ain't the time to plant. I gotta wait. But if in the process of going through the water and the gin and the orogbo and the obi, the water, the gin, the efun, the orogbo and the obi, in that order, if you see that it's favorable, then go for it. If not, just cover the hole. Say, okay, I got it. I'm cool. I'll wait.
Okay, thank you.
Um, and so that idea of digging a hole is obviously a physical expression of this pit of misfortune, where the basic idea of the pit of misfortune is that my feelings are what drive my decisions. It's not my thoughts. It's not my rational mind that makes me decide and conclude. Right? 1 + 1 is 2 is definitive. It's over. The question is answered. But if the one is a fire and the other one is my house, it's not just that I'm going to conclude, oh yeah, my house is on fire. No. If my house is on fire, then I'm thinking about my pictures that are in there, my family that is in there, my cat that's in there, and all of my emotions are going to spike so much that adrenaline is going to take over. I'm going to run into the burning house because the emotions. It's our emotions that cause us to make decisions. It's our emotions that make us act. Right? And so when we are looking at the pit of misfortune, however, Ifa is inviting us not to become inert or stagnant. It's not that we just refuse to act. It's that we choose our action in a way that doesn't just address the emotion. We choose to act in a way that gets to the root of the emotion. So someone did something, it evoked an emotion of fear. I responded with anger, and next thing you know, I'm fighting in the parking lot. That's not really what I want to happen. What I really want to happen is, this event took place. I was afraid that I was gonna lose credibility, and so I got angry because the person that was threatening my credibility was someone who I gave credibility to. The audacity, the outrage, now we fight in the parking lot. But really what I need to address is, oh, I'm hurt and compromised because, well, that constitutes a deep betrayal based on what I'm, what my values are, based on how I'm defining our relationship. This is a deep betrayal. So here's live and direct the way it can look for us, right? Strong emotions that are ours to own. If you are, for example, a parent and you have a child, and as a parent, all you do is parent. Your relationship to your child is just that you're their parent. We not friends. We not pals. We not co-workers. We not colleagues. None of that. My entire relationship to you is that I take care of you. My entire relationship to you is that I protect you. My entire relationship to you is that I provide for you. I open up pathways for you. I sacrifice and compromise so that you can have more. So everything that I'm doing in relationship to you is orientated towards supporting you and protecting you, etc. Right? And so if you're my child and you do something that, by my estimation, contradicts that, my whole, I'm outraged because you have betrayed everything that I've been doing with you and for you for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, for 25 years, for 35 years. This carries over. You got a child 35 years old, full grown adult, but you still are expecting them to understand and be on your side of the emotional spectrum when it comes to how they respond to what you do. So when they do something that contradicts that, you are totally outraged. Well, let me say, me as a parent, y'all are different kind of parents. Y'all are good parents. Y'all are patient and loving parents. And when your children do things that defies what you want them to do or what you thought they were supposed to do, you sit down quietly and you have a little tea with them and you say, Junior, that's contradictory to the vision that I have for your life, son. That's what y'all do. Me, I lose my shit. Damn it! What the hell are you doing? So I stand alone. I own my thing. Y'all different from me. I'm still working on myself. But that is one of the most overwhelming, emotional experiences. But And it's so perfect because you realize you start to see your own parents and you realize, oh, that's why my mom was so crazy. Oh, that's why. Because we were operating on two entirely different spectrums. And you start to see, oh, all right, these people don't know what I'm doing at all. They don't know, they have no idea what I'm doing. They're 10 years old, they don't have a clue. They're 15 years old, they don't have a clue. They get to be 20 years old, they don't have a clue. 25, they don't have a clue. They just could say more, but they don't have a clue about what you're actually doing. But your emotions become, so intensified, right? This is just one example of how our emotions become so overwhelming. Why? Because everything that you're doing is about love. Everything that you're doing is about protection. That's the only way you know how to relate to them. And it just can't compute that you're misunderstanding or you're misinterpreting your response to what I'm offering and doing, is just way off. Right? But the growth opportunity for me, let's say in that instance as the parent, is for me to look at those core values as to why does this move me this way? What is it? What is it? It's the emotion is anger. The emotion is fear. The emotion is outrage. The emotion is betrayal. But why? What's the root of it? Where is this coming from? And that's where we start to get the opportunity. Sometimes we may say, I have a core value. This emotion that I'm feeling reveals to me that I have this super deep core value about protecting, right? If I boil it all down, my core value around, how I'm relating to this child or my children in general is about I'm protecting them. Or my core value is that I'm giving them the kind of emotional and spiritual support and presence that I never had. And when it comes down to that, again, right there is because, oh, that's mine to own now. That's mine. I'm doing that. They're not doing that. They just have their experience. I'm the one that's offering them this love and affection to compensate because of how I grew up. The things that were missing in my experience, the gaps in my own upbringing. I am offering that because that's a value that I have. And so I have all this emotional attachment to it because of what it means to me and all of the things that I feel like I missed, or all of the things that I feel like were inadequate or insufficient in my own life. And I'm doing everything I can to, for some of us, it was material stuff. Like, I had 2 pair of pants, you know what I'm saying? Like I had 2 pair of pants, bro. I went to school from 9th grade to 12th grade every year. I ain't have no more than 2 pair of pants. So what did I do? I did everything that I could to make sure that you had 5 pairs of pants. I made there's the dances coming up, and it's going. You want what kind of shoes? Shit, watch this. I'm gonna do anything I can do. You gonna have the shoes, the pants, the jacket, the hat. But I'm trying to make sure that you have what I didn't have. Right? So I'm doing it for you, but I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for you, but I'm doing it for me. It means one thing to you, it means something different for me. And so that is where we tap into what's at the root of the emotions. Why does this feeling overwhelm me so strongly when my child responds this way or doesn't respond this way, or my wife or my husband or my girlfriend or my neighbor or my partner, whatever it is, when we find ourselves immediately caught up in this emotional whirlwind and we experience these super intense emotions, the pit of misfortune provides the filter that we can use to explore what's at the root of that emotion. What's driving that emotion? What is it that I'm really trying to satisfy? And what do I feel is, or what is it that I feel is in danger, being jeopardized?